So creators like Danco, Justin Welsh are making millions and millions per year with no employees, 90+% profit margins, and whilst working about 4 to 5 hours a day. And by analyzing their content systems, it's allowed me to see massive gaps in my content systems. So what I wanted to do in this video was to break down how these guys do it and some other big players in the space, and how to build your own content system machine. So this doesn't rely on you, and it's also going to be extremely effective for getting attention, owning attention, and then converting that attention. Because yeah, without a system, none of this will work. And I'm going to hopefully get to the point where they are in my early 20s in the next 5 years or so. And that's the goal. So I've been doing a lot of research on these guys and how they do their content, and why it's so effective for them. But this video is probably one of my favorite I've ever recorded, just because I love creating content. I think everyone watching this should be educating and creating valuable assets that they can put on YouTube, which are evergreen, meaning that you make these videos once and they stay on the internet for 2, 3, 4, 5, forever basically, and they'll get you leads, they'll get you clients, meetings, months, if not years into the future. So that's why everyone should be doing it. But in this video, I cannot wait to get into this, but I'm going to explain exactly how to build your own content system, which requires about, honestly, 2 to 3 hours a week. That's the best part. I think this guy, Justin Welsh, spends like 4 to 5 hours a day, but Danco, he is more on this kind of style of just getting the content out the way, basically. So I'm basically going to show you how you can build a content system with 2 to 3 hours a week of work. We're going to use a strategic block, which is essentially a deep work session, which consists of 2 to 3 hours of work, basically, in one go. You can do it on a Sunday or Monday, and this is going to allow you to get the throughput and the inputs onto these various social media platforms to actually get the attention and views you need to make a lot of money. So yeah, the same premise. I'll show you some examples in a second, but you can use different mediums. Now, what I mean by medium is different platforms. And so, for example, some people like watching YouTube, but it would make sense to put my YouTube onto Spotify because some people like to listen. But for example, this is what I think Danco would recommend, is that you spend 2 to 3 hours per week, which is literally no time at all, and write 1,000 words on a topic that your niche struggles with. Now, the reason you do this, right, is because you have so much leverage when it comes to using these 1,000 words. So what you can do is, not only would you put this 1,000 words into an email newsletter to send to your list, or if you don't have an email newsletter currently, and the reason we all build, or the biggest creators build newsletters, is because you actually own your audience. Unlike Instagram, unlike YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, which rely on the algorithm, emails is very person to person. Like, there's no algorithm, there's no third party. You send an email, it's getting into their inbox. Like, if your Instagram account gets shut down, I've seen it so many happen. I've seen so many people where they rely on like YouTube and Instagram, and that's why I'm focusing on doing this as well. Because yeah, if God forbid if something happens, then you need to have emails, or you need to own your audience basically. So if you don't have this, that's totally fine. What you'd want to do is, with this 1,000 words each week you would write, obviously a different topic each week, you would then turn that into tweets. The tweets would turn into Instagram carousels basically, which are like the tweets on Instagram where you can swipe, which you see quite commonly. YouTube ideation, so you can actually get YouTube topics from these Instagram carousels and the tweets, and it all stems from this 1,000 words you did up here. You also can then, from the YouTube video you create short form content, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and Facebook, or whatever platform your niche hangs out on. You would want to optimize for that, and the call to action stays the same, which is ideally create some type of free course or free lead magnet in exchange for their email, phone number, and yeah, I'll explain more about the conversion mechanisms involved in that in a second. But this is an example of a content system, but it all starts with just 2 to 3 hours of work writing this 1,000 words, which then you can use software to turn into tweets, Instagram carousels, to schedule this content. You'd have to create the YouTube videos, obviously, but you would have the title and the ideas from this 1,000 words. So all the hard work is done right at the top here. So, and this also, and I'll give you an example of mine in a second, but this also acts as an insane feedback loop, because the more content in both copy, so like written emails or tweets, and verbal, like what I'm doing now, speaking, it's going to create more attention, more views, and more opt-ins, which means you get more emails, and then you make more money, and then once again you repeat this thing, and it's a positive feedback loop. You can also get negative feedback loops, where if you miss a day of posting on YouTube or Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever, you know, it's going to become harder to do the next day. Likewise, if you have a bad night's sleep, a negative feedback loop would be going into your next day, it's going to be harder to do certain activities, to take sales calls, to do the work, and you get the point. So there's positive and negative feedback loops, but in this case, this is a massive feedback loop in which you can get a huge amount of leverage with very little work put in, with most amounts of attention going towards this call to action. Now, in a perfect scenario, right, this would be my content system. So here's the example. We've got long form YouTube. Every other day I post on this channel. That's what I try to do. And this is my top of the funnel. So this is where I get the most amount of attention. And ideally, which I'm not doing, so these guys have made me see massive gaps, and it's understandable why these guys are making money and I'm not. It's purely because they understand this better. But in a perfect world, I would put this video that I'm doing right now into you know, a audio format, post that onto Spotify because some people like to listen. Then I would share my YouTube video, and every time I upload, I'd put that on my Instagram story, getting people from my Instagram to my YouTube. Then they would watch my YouTube video and I'd send them back to my Instagram. So they're once again in this ecosystem of me and my content. They're getting nurtured. And once they've seen about 7 hours of content, which is, as a rule of thumb, that is what it takes in order for someone to buy high ticket with very little objections. I would also share my YouTube, which is top of the funnel, obviously, to nurture, and also in my middle of the funnel, I guess, if they come from Discord and Instagram. But I would also share this onto Discord, so then they would get notified whenever I upload. And once again, in my YouTube video, in the description, you'll be able to go to my Discord. So you get the point. It's a feedback loop, and it's to get you in my ecosystem. But my bottleneck, right, is at the bottom here. So my bottleneck is short form content, because this type of content I'm making on YouTube, it is not the best for Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and Twitter, basically. So that is a huge bottleneck I have. So what I'm going to do soon is I'm going to rearrange my content strategy. So all I have to do is really change the format in which my long form YouTube videos are in, and maybe do more camera to camera work. I don't know if that made sense, but like person to camera, not me looking at a screen. But that will allow me to automate this part here. Or another option is I could just record Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and X. Not really X, but these are just like tweets. But mainly these two things here, besides my YouTube. But ideally, you want to have it in a flow situation where you create a YouTube video and you can get content from that, if that makes sense. And once again, it's still a feedback loop, because the more views, the more money, the more you can put back into your content, and it's just going to exponentially grow, basically. And that's how these guys have gotten to this point. They have massive email newsletters, they have so much attention, and they've done all of the hard work by actually owning their audience, and just by solving people's problems for free. Now, in terms of how it works, is ideally you would have some type of free course, free training, a free ebook, or something in which it incentivizes your audience to sign up and give you their email, because people aren't just going to give you their email for no reason. So yeah, ideally you would have some type of lead magnet for that. You could use a free school group in which you would have you would collect their email upon joining, and you would ask them 2 questions, basically, which you can actually do inside school. This is just an example of what to do possibly if you're starting out. And then anyone who gets into this, they would basically then get an automated email drip campaign, which you've already built beforehand. You're not going to collect emails and then build this. You're going to build an email nurturing campaign, which could be, I don't know, a month, 2 months, 3 months, you know, where they get 1 email a week, or once, you know, 3 times, one every 3 days or so. And they're just getting nurtured, basically. And then you can basically sell low ticket through this email. So what Justin does to make this amount of money is he has affordable info products. And if you're not familiar with what an info product is, it's basically, so there's obviously two types of products. You've got a physical and a digital. So he sells these digital products, right? In the form of information, packaging up what he knows and putting it into an ebook, a video. I think he sells one on how to build a content system of how he's done it, and I think it's like $200-$300. So that is low ticket, by the way. That isn't expensive, especially in the B2B space. So what you do is you sell people in your email campaign low ticket. It could be $50, $100, $200, and then he has a SDR, which is a sales development rep, like a appointment setter or a caller, basically, to call every single person who buys this low ticket thing. Because what this means is they are a qualified buyer. Because if someone buys something for $50, they are much more likely to buy something for $500 or $5,000 or even $50,000, because they have the buying tendencies. So, and the buying behavior. So it's really important you have speed to lead in this part of the thing, because immediately when someone buys your low ticket thing, you should have someone call them up and say to them like, hey, did you get access to the, I don't know, whatever you're selling or your client is selling? And then basically just try to see if they need extra help, which will be your higher ticket option. But the best part about low ticket is I know people who make a ton of money through low ticket because there's no service delivery, there's no fulfillment, there's no sales calls, and there's a huge amount of leverage once you've done the hard part, which is actually just getting the attention. That is purely the hard part, is actually building your content system and sticking to the day-to-day actions. And then the SDR would basically book them in for an appointment or sell them high ticket over the phone. And it should be an easy sell with no objections, because they have already bought your low ticket thing, and you should make your low ticket thing, feel 10x what it's worth. So if you sell something for 50, it should feel like it's worth 500, because naturally, if you're aware of the freemium model, which basically means that people, when they experience something for free or low ticket and it exceeds the value 10x, 20x, 50x, 100x, then naturally the consumer is going to be curious about what happens if they pay you 5,000. Will it also be worth 50x of the value or 100x the value? So that is the cognitive biases behind how this works. And low ticket is very easy to sell in the B2B space, because people are always wanting to invest in their education and themselves, basically. So that is an example of the actual conversion aspect of it, of how you'd build this funnel. It's very simple. You get attention from your content system. The call to action in each of these Instagram, YouTube, long form would be to get to some type of free aspect or whatever, free course, free program, free PDF, whatever it may be. You collect the data. You then basically put them on an automated email drip campaign. You then sell them low ticket. The caller calls them up whenever they buy the low ticket and upsells them to the high ticket or the mid ticket. And that is a basic explanation of how these guys do it. Obviously, there's a lot more technical variables involved in this. They've been doing this for years and years. So this isn't a short-term thing where you're going to post content for a month and make a ton of money. No, you have to be in this for the next 5 years. And if you're not, then the person who is going to win. It's quite simple. And I'm willing to do that. Hopefully I, fingers crossed, can get to the level in which these guys are at in the next 5 years, just by posting every other day and optimizing my content system to make this 10 times better than what it is right now. But yeah, just by analyzing these guys and how they operate, in terms of building systems around their content, it's allowed me to see the massive gaps in my system. So hopefully you did find this video valuable. If you did, all I ask is that you leave a like and subscribe. I'm not going to sell you something. Also, I post more value on my Instagram, so give that a follow if you're not already. It'll be in the description, probably the second link, or just, you can look at it and find it in the description. But yeah, I post more daily updates on my Instagram, more content. You can ask me questions in the DMs if you want. I'm always open to that. And yeah, if you enjoyed, just subscribe. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers, ideally in the next few months. So that would be a massive help if you did find this video valuable and you do want more content like this for free. Then yeah, hit the like, subscribe, and also comment something cool. Comment the words, I don't know, content if you're watching this, so you can so it can increase the algorithm and reach more people. If not, no worries. There's more videos above which you can check out. Like, it should be here. I post all the time on this channel, so yeah, enjoy, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.